คุณเหลียวสวัสดี
Hi.
ค่ะ Can we quickly test your mic? Do you mind?
Hello, hello. Can you hear? Can you hear me?
It's a
Yes,
bit
yes,
soft. Is it
clear.
มันเบาไหม Yeah, it's all good.
Uh, is this better?
It's good to me.
Okay. Hi, Consum.
Hi คุณเลียว
Hello, Lea. I can only see Consum.
พัฒโนไทยคุณ
I think you need to change parameters of your Zoom on your phone so you can see multiple people.
Mm, yeah, not sure how to do that. One second. Um, how
And
do I do that?
on the phone, I don't know.
Okay, doesn't matter. I can just toggle with. Oh, here I can toggle. Here, see you all. Hi, everyone.
Hello to all the participants. It's a pleasure to have you with us. We'll wait 3 more minutes to let everybody arrive.
Yay! So excited to have everyone here. If you feel comfortable, we encourage you to have the camera on, as even though it's an online space, I think we can still get connected together still. And we have a lot of familiar faces in the room. You might recognize some, and some of them you'll be getting to know today. We are very excited also for the panel discussion that we have lined up later. And we also have exciting prizes for you. One of it is a custom The Good Chat portrait. You can see in our background, we have our talented Milk, the illustrator, that will be offering you a custom portrait. And beside the custom The Good Chat portrait, we also have a prize to get a one-on-one consultation. First of all, with Leia to scale your impact. And we also have a one-on-one consultation on branding and marketing with our strategist, Mint. And we also have a one-on-one consultation session with Putzi on how to collaborate with a KOL. So that would be given in the CSO demo room later. Leia will be taking care of that. And we also have a prize to get a one-on-one consultation on copywriting with myself. So lots to go over today, and we will get to talk from the very beginning of how the Good Chat program is and how we have been working on mainstreaming the conversation on the energy transition for the past 2 to 3 years. We also have some of our fellows here with us. They'll be joining more soon. And then we will get to listen from the panelists. Let me quickly share my screen here. So the topic today is on why is it so hard to talk about energy, even though it affects our home, even though it affects our health. The question is, why is it so hard to talk about it, even though energy is everywhere? Our invitation for you is to think of different ways you can have conversations on energy with your neighbors, with your friends, with your family members, with your co-workers. And a few housekeeping announcement before we begin. So First of all, if you can, turn your camera on because it's so much nicer. Imagine we in a call, we don't see any faces. It's a very sad day. So we encourage you to have your camera on. If you're in pajamas, that's perfectly fine. You can kind of tilt your camera up a little bit and we're all good there. Second of all, we ask you to have the microphones off unless you're speaking, and you're welcome to always raise your hand and whenever you want to speak. But just to avoid any accidental sounds to make the session all the smoother. So please keep your microphones off unless you want to speak. And we have the chat section, and people are always feel like if in Thai you เกรงใจ you don't want to use the space because it's a public space, but we invite you to spam away so you can do to everyone and then chat to everyone. You can also kind of have side conversations. For example, if I want to just chat with Mesom on the side, I can choose her name and have a side conversation with that. And this is a judgment-free zone. Feel free to ask anything, react anytime. Beside the chat feature, we also have this reaction feature on your Zoom. So if you click reaction, you can clap, you can give a thumbs up, you can love, haha, and all that. You can also have the option to raise your hands if you want to speak, if you want to ask questions at any time. And for your information, this session is being recorded for us all to be learning later. We can take parts of it and put it in our playbook also, as it's a living space and it's always growing. And for the agenda today, I want to start with how we will be spending our time together. We will see who's in the room with us because, this work really only works if we see each other, if we know each other, if we acknowledge each other. And then we will revisit, if you know it already, or we will visit why the Good Chat exists in the first place, what the program is, and where it's heading. And then we have a keynote from myself. Thank you, Leia, for putting me on the spot. And hopefully I'll give a bigger picture. Spoiler, it's by me. And then we move into a panel discussion, which will be an honest dialogue between representatives on both sides. We have a representative from civil society organization, and we have two representatives from the influencer side, from KOL side. And then we will review the playbook structure. There will be a pre-recorded walkthrough for you. And after which we will have a breakout rooms into two different demo rooms. We will have the KOL path, which will be guided by Putipur, an illustrator, and also a community builder from Indonesia, and also someone who I'm very grateful to work alongside. And for the CSO path, it will be led by Leia, the founder of Make Sense Asia, who has been building and supporting the impact work across the region for many years. And then we end with a lucky draw, some joins, and collective closing. Now, who's in the room? I'm guessing some. These are some of my guesses who will be here. Maybe you spot your faces in the room. Maybe you see your friends' faces in the room. So let's do a quick roll call. You have access to the chat feature, right? So we will use the chat feature to do a roll call. We'll be asking you now to type. There's only two parts, okay? So no existential crisis. We can unpack your identity later. But for now, there's only two choices. Can you type in the chat whether you are a KOL, that is an online influencer, a content creator, maybe you are a community builder, people who maybe an educator. So you can type KOL in the chat box. And if you are CSO, you can maybe you are a researcher, you work in an NGO from an organization. I know there are more than two, but for the sake of this today, during this meeting, can you choose one of the two in the chat box? You can also start testing if the chat section work as well. Yeah, okay. and whenever you're ready, you can start typing now. So we have, wow, okay, we have CSO, KL. Milk, can you help me count how many? I always give Milk impossible tasks, and she always puts up with me. So I'm gonna ask her to start counting. We have a lot of KOLs today. Take your time, we can get to that later. So if you are a KOL, maybe you see familiar faces, and if you see CSO, maybe some potential collaboration that might be happening later. For this answer. Okay. If you want to see some fun answer, go see in the chat section. Thank you so much for your answer. So we will have that panel discussion that everyone is so looking forward to, but not yet, not just yet. I'm just wanting to keep you there. So I put all the famous people faces to keep you there. And I want to announce the prizes that we have today again, in case there's some latecomers. We will have a custom The Good Chat style portrait. We will have one-on-one consultations with your favorite mentors, and just like self-anointed favorite. We have how to collaborate with KOLs with Putty. We have branding and marketing with Mint, copywriting with me, and scaling the impact with Leia. Okay, first of all, what is the good chat? I know a lot of you are here without even knowing what the good chat is. Maybe you know Make Sense Asia, but you don't know what the good chat is. And we thank you for taking your time to come here. The good chat, our mission is to mainstream the conversation on energy transition in Southeast Asia. So what we want is we want people to talk about energy. We want people to have opinions on it. We want people to start saying yes, saying no to different things, and start to see how close it is to our daily life. And this is our third year already. The fellows here, they have been, if you are an Indonesian fellows, congratulations on having finished your first campaign. If you're a Thai fellow, you're still kind of halfway through your first campaign. This is what we are working on to get people who are not yet creating content on climate, not yet creating content on energy. For example, Som over here, she's a scent designer, among many things. But for just today's sake, she's a scent designer. She, for example, there's a book publisher who is publishing a book called Don Quixote, the Thai translation, and they want the publication to be the first book with scent. And there are different chapters, and they design different scents to it. So Som has been creating on how to create scent, whether or not to use essential oil, and what to do, and how to find your identity. So now she has been finding her way how to talk about energy in her community without feeling like what's happening, why is she changing all of a sudden. We want her to stay herself. We want her to stay the same while start to talk about the reality of energy in Southeast Asia, in particular her own context in Thailand. Okay, now we have the first prize already. Milk, are you ready? Milk will be taking notes of the winner of the prize. The question for you all is approximately how many people were reached by the program in the first 2 years. So this is our year 2.5 already, but we're counting only the first 2 years. Can you guess? Because we have influencers, right, who create content. For example, Putty, she's an illustrator and a community leader of a book club. So she asked people to join in her conversation. We're looking at the numbers of the Facebook posts, of the reach. So take your guess. You go ahead and type your question, your answer in the chat, and we'll look at who has the closest to the actual answer. The question is, sorry, someone is speaking.
Could you just explain what you mean by reach? Is it basically circulation of the media that you have used, or is it like, what is it? Is it likes? What is reach? How do you measure reach?
Yes, thank you, Leo, for your answer, for your question. So when we're talking about reach is people who have seen the campaign. Yeah. So we're not talking about the engagement. Engagement is when people click like, people comment. This is the people who wake up chatting with their friend and then look down on the phone and then scroll and then Putty's content comes to their phone. Or maybe they're doing some shopping online, scroll, and then they see a campaign by Maria, our first batch fellow. So how many people you think the first 2 years have reached? Okay, we have 10,000 people by Phoebe. We have Leo guessing 75,000 people. Leia gets 300 people. We have 250,000. Kun Min say 1 million. Yeah, we hope we get more than one. We have 100,000. We have 1 million. Okay, yes, yeah. Maria is in the program. Are you forgetting, Kun Leo, that Buji, your co-panelist, he has 3.8 million followers on TikTok. Are you forgetting that? Yasmin, you said 10 million. All right. Okay. Is any more answers coming? Milk, do we have the closest one yet? Okay, so even though, for example, Bucci has 3.8 million followers, it doesn't always mean that all the 3.8 followers will see the post, right? Obviously, it depends on the algorithm and how engaging the post is. All right, now, the answer is we have reached 15 million people. Yay! Someone send clapping emoji for us. Yes. So who is the closest to 15 million? I think Yasmin, right? I think Yasmin. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Yasmin. Yay! Congratulations, Yasmin. You have your prize to get one-on-one consultation with Mint on branding and marketing. Yes, you can make sure that you can list all the questions before you get that consultation session to make the most out of it. Congratulations. So these are the faces of our fellows in year 2, 1, 2, and also 3. We have, if you see the upper left is Anina, who is an illustrator from the Philippines. We have Uy, who is the owner of the group Ngan Ban Thi Rak, who, a group of home enthusiasts. People spend days talking about which washing machine to use and what degree of air conditioner to set on so that it's the most efficient. We also have Johanna, who is a leader of the community baby wearers in Indonesia. We have Joe Sebastian, who is a dietitian in the Philippines. And our fellow this year, we have Mrs. Melon's Diary, Pat, who is an educator as well as a parenting inspiration. And I want to also acknowledge that even more than the metrics of how far we have come, most people who joined us in the first 2 editions, they were not climate people. Most of them were just storytellers, content creators in their own niche. And it's a niche they deeply care about. And our job as a team was to turn them into all the niches into something else, into a content that help people see how energy already lived inside their work And now today we halfway through edition 3, and this is the moment that we change from asking how does it work? Like, does it work? I'm sure, Leia, when you started the first year, there were so many questions like, would this work? Would this not work? But this year, that question is not there anymore. We know already that it works. The question becomes, how do we scale? And how do we scale without losing the trust that make the program work in the first place? What is the secret recipe to it? And if we scale it, how do we keep that to work still? So edition 3 now is about deeper engagement and also wider reach, because we focusing more on in-person events so people can really connect meaningfully, and we bringing this a new hordes of fellows, and we also bringing them into a wider ecosystem to get connected with all the players so that we can make even bigger impact than before. And once the conversation feel more mainstream, our job is to make sure that, our connections, our human, face-to-face interaction remains still honest, still inclusive, and still true to the niche that you are already creating. And we have combined all our know-hows in the past 2.5 years into the Good Chat Playbook. And that's why today we're launching it. That's what today's event is all about. Now, we have a keynote from me. I'm a program coordinator, and I'm going to talk about why online influencer and civil society organizations must work together in order to make this vision work, to mainstream the conversations on the energy transition. Because I'm shy to be talking, I have a pre-recorded video for you. So good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you all for being here in the Zoom room today, because I know that the fact that you're here. Sorry, let me figure out the sound. There you go, share sound. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you all for being here in the Zoom room today, because I know that the fact that you're here means you could have been in 10 other places right now, but you did show up, and we are thankful to have you here with us. I want to begin with this question that our fellows often ask us, especially in the early days of our engagement, in the early days of the fellowship. The question is, why energy? Why not just sustainability? Why not just climate? Why not just the environment? Because energy sounds dry, right? Like, it sounds like something you talk about if you work at a utility company, or if you are that friend who always look at the electricity bills. And if you're that friend, we thank you. But the truth is, energy is not dry. It's very much personal. Energy already affects our lives. It's, I'm surrounded by it right now. Like, I have my light here, I have my AC here. Energy is a difference between whether or not you keep the AC on all night so that you can sleep comfortably, or you turn it off to save the cost. Energy is whether or not you are nieces and nephews. In my case, you might have children. I have my nieces and nephews that I very much love. It's the difference between whether or not they have their lights on to do their homework at night. It's your neighbor's motorcycle's engine getting ruined by the flood. It's your entire community being affected by the flood, and how fast it can come back to quote unquote the normal life, or whether that a flood just keeps happening again and again, and it becomes your cycle of loss and recovery. Energy is all of that, yet what we see happening is that the discussion on energy is limited into only a few circles among experts, among policy leaders, among people with charts and data. So when people ask me or tell me that they don't understand the energy transition, I want to say to them that you don't need to understand the technical terms because you already understand the reality of it. You already affected by it. For example, this morning, the first thing I thought of when I opened my eyes was whether or not I need to close the windows because of the air pollution in Bangkok right now. It's already in your life. You already know it. And that is why we need conversations. That's why we need better conversations on the energy transition. That's where all the online influencers come in and see how energy is in their community, and then they can translate it into their community members, whether that means people who follow them on Instagram, people who interact with them through the comment section on their TikTok videos, or they are making this UGC content to interact with the influencers' original content. This is how conversations can happen online. This is how we can normalize the discussion on the energy transition. It does not have to be the numbers that determine by what year what happens, but it can just mean what kind of food that will show up on your plate later tonight. It can be the fact that you feel entitled to the air that you breathe in, or the scent, the smells that comes inside your house. It's all of that. So the collaboration between KOLs, key opinion leaders, these community leaders, content creators, the collaboration between KOLs and civil society organizations are no longer just a nice to have. The collaboration is no longer just a PR add-on. The collaboration between key opinion leaders and civil society organization is the most strategic thing we can do right now in this region to make sure that the energy transition is done in a just and fair manner, that nobody gets left behind. Because the future is collaborative, and the conversation belongs to all of us here today. Enjoy the panel discussion later. Ask away all your burning questions, and we are very excited for you to use our playbook that we have been working on. It contains on our know-hows in the past 2 to 3 years, and do let us know what you think and what you want to see more of, what you want to add, what you want to edit. It's an open source, free for everyone, so use it away, share it, enjoy it, and let's talk about it. Good afternoon. I was saying like one time is enough already. Okay, so if you are a millennial, you know this meme of a character who does everything, and that's how I feel right now. But I love my job. Now we have come to our exciting panel discussion on why is it so hard to talk about what affects our home, our health. Energy is everywhere. Let's talk about it. Okay, now reach your reaction button and give a round of applause to our panelists, Kun Leo, Buji, and Mamir Miranti. Welcome. I just imagine like a big hall room and full of applauses. Yeah, so imagine with me. Okay. First of all, oh, by I think by Tong raised your hands by accident. Yes, but if at any times you want to raise your hands, ask questions, everyone feel free to raise your hands and ask questions too. Now, I don't dare to put myself to introduce Kun Leo. Can I ask you to introduce yourself? That way we can get a good gist of it. And yes, let's begin with that. Kun Leo ค่ะ
I'm sure you do much better job than me. Tip. So, hi everyone, nice to see you all, including a lot of familiar faces. I'm Leo Horn Patinotai, half British, half Thai. Recently moved back to Thailand after working for 2 decades plus internationally at the intersection of climate and environment, mostly as a technocrat. So, as a diplomat, I was a think tank wonk. An environmental economist. And after 20 years working on the technical issues, I decided that actually it would be far more fun and impactful to work in building a social movement, to really bridge that gap between what the experts say is needed and where society is, right? So that's what I'm in the business of doing now through the organization that I set up called Juti, which is a Just Transitions Incubator. It also means in Thai, birth after death. And which is a metaphor for what we're trying to do, right? Bring the new emergent ecosystem for a better tomorrow out of the carcass of this dying system that's on its kind of last gasps. And I also organize the Bangkok Climate Action Week.
Thank you so much for the introduction. And if you were in Thailand in October, it was the talk of the town, Bangkok Climate Action Week, and it was the first time that it was organized, but I think it took everyone by the storm. You see so many events happening all the time. You can be attending a seminar in the morning, and no, literally my own experience was attending a seminar by TDRI of the CASE project, and then I went up to the Greenpeace project on the fourth floor, and afterwards I ran to Benjagiti Park. And I think if I had more energy, I could be partying later at another event of Bangkok Climate Action Week too. So it's like a whole festival of impact, but also dressed in very fun workshops. Looking forward to see it happening again in this upcoming October. If you are in the Philippines, if you are in Indonesia, go ahead and look at the plane tickets to Bangkok during October. Why don't you? It's a good excuse to make your way over here and do message us. We can do a little bit of a cafe meet up, the good chat meet up, and we can get connected that way. So a good chance to connect. Thank you, Kulio, for introducing yourself. Now we have Mamir or Miranti. I call her Mamir, but I don't know what you want to be called. A very good friend of mine, and also the Good Chat Fellows from Batch 2. She is one of the co-founders of the YouTube channel called Living Loving. If you're into aesthetics, if into home living, definitely check her page. Miranti, can I ask you to introduce yourself a little more?
Thank you, Jeep. Hello, everyone. My name is Miranti Andikasin, and you can call me Mamir. I'm the co-founder of Living Loving. It's a platform that uses storytelling and community experience to explore home and living and also creative lifestyle topics.
Thank you so much. She's an introvert, so she doesn't talk very much unless you press and ask her more questions. Our next panelist is a bit different. He told me that I'm allowed to cut him off at any time because he loves talking so much. And that's exactly why people love following him. If you see his number of followers, there are 3.8 million people who love to hear him talk, and we have the privilege to have be in more of a closed room situation with him, so get like a close-up story time. Can I ask you to introduce yourself, Uji?
Hi everyone, my name is Buji Babieras. I'm a content creator, and at the same time, I'm a mobility advocate here in the Philippines. So I make content on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, and starting out on YouTube. And I also travel a lot and tell stories during these travels. I also have this community called First Bike Ride because I started out as a cycling content creator, then eventually got into uh, doing the cycling advocacy, which led me to my current advocacy, which is mobility. Last year, I was part of I was a fellow at Good Chat, where I met incredible people and learned so many things about sustainability, and where I learned how I can incorporate talking about energy with the content that I do, which is a little bit far from energy, which is cycling and storytelling. So yeah, and I'm excited to talk more about it, my experience, and I hope to share some lessons with everyone. Thank you, Jib.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yes, so these are our exciting conversations that are about to happen. I have my first questions, and I like to direct this one to Kun Leo. Let's start from the topic itself. Let's start from the energy transition itself. And the mission of the Good Chat is to mainstream the conversation. My question for you is, why? Like, why do we need the public engagement? Why do we need to invite people into the conversation? Why do we need like the everyday people here to have opinions on the energy transition?
Thank you, Kunjip. A very good question. It's always good to start with why, right? Well, first off, I think it's plain to see that energy is a basic necessity, right? So it's something that we all need, and without it, we are stuck in a poverty trap, right? So today we live in a world where there is about 1 billion people who do not have access to energy. So even as it's a basic necessity in modern society, it's also something that's very unevenly distributed in terms of access, and so that's a challenge that concerns us all. And indeed, one of the Sustainable Development Goals is about increasing energy access and improving the quality of energy too. We need to be talking about this because we are trapped in an energy system that's actually costing us. It's costing the earth. It's costing our health. It's costing us in a very direct way in our pockets, right? And we have the technologies and the possibility of an alternative energy system that actually delivers better for everyone and for the planet. So the question then is, why if there's a better alternative, are we trapped in this over reliance on dirty sources of energy that pollute the air and damage our health? And I think that's a very good question to ask too, right? Why is this such a if it's such a basic necessity and we have the means to have a better energy system, why do we not have it? And so that's why I think this conversation and having the CSOs and the KOLs come together is such a powerful and important coalition or constellation to bring together, because this energy transition needs to be taken away from the experts. It's far too important to be left for experts to debate and to agree amongst each other. It concerns us all, and we all should have a say about the energy future that we want. And I think about it a bit like we suffer from an addiction problem, right? So that's we're addicted to energy, to fossil fuels. Effectively, our economies, our transport systems, our cities, our buildings, everything is fueled by fossil fuels that are working against the kind of future that we all desire, right? And another way to think about it is a bit like an abusive partner. It's difficult to get out of it, but you also know it's bad for you, right? And so I think the reason that we need to have this discussion and bring CSOs and KOLs together is to reframe the conversation so that it's not seen as a technical issue, it's not seen as kilowatt hours and those kinds of metrics, but it's reframed as being what it really is fundamentally about. It's about power. It's about justice. It's about equity. It's about moving away from a scarcity framing that has power as something, energy as something that's controlled by the few and enriches the few at the expense of the many, to reframe it as actually, we have an abundance of energy. There's an abundance of wind. There's an abundance of sun. We can all have it in a way that helps power our economic opportunity, our health, and better futures for ourselves. So this is a conversation that requires all of us, right? Because if we don't take this conversation away from the experts, it will remain in that technocratic frame of solutioning within broken systems that replicate the bad outcomes that we actually want to and can be working against.
It's super interesting for you to use the word to be addicted. Like we are addicted to, this familiar source of energy, and we somehow reluctant to change, even though it's so abundant and ready for us to be used everywhere. And I really like how you say that it needs to be taken away from the experts and to be, allowing more spaces, more possibilities for KOLs to join. And our question then, I want to ask Mamir this. I want to ask you, like, why are people not talking about it? You work in the people who are enthusiastic about their home, about their living, and wouldn't it make sense then for people to already be talking about energy because it's something about your house already? My question for you is like, why are we not already talking about it?
Well, maybe I think because the topic, for some people, the topic is a bit distant. Like just like you said, the access is not evenly distributed. So at least in Indonesia, energy transition topics can feel like luxury topics. Like for many people, they already so many urgent things to worry about in daily life, especially with the economy slowing down and layoffs happening. So when we talk about switching to renewable energy, like maybe for example installing solar panels, it can be very far away from their daily life, and people are thinking, I'm not even sure about next month's bill, so how can I think about long-term energy investment? So I think it's not because people don't care about the environment, but it's that survival often comes before sustainability.
Thank you for your answer. I definitely agree with you on that, it's people worrying about their next month's bill already, and it's kind of overwhelming to think that you need to, with that guilt, be investing on solar system, for example, that will only take a long time for it to give back. And we had a photo earlier, Booty, on you visiting a solar farm. Since Mamia already talking about the solar system, and you were there, on your bike, riding all the way to see the local people there and with the solar farm. Can you tell us a bit of your experience more, maybe also on Miranti's experience that people are not talking about it? Do you share the same sentiment? And when you visit the farm, how was your experience? So it's kind of like a two question there.
So I think Southeast Asians in general, we share the same feelings. Like most Southeast Asians share the same feeling of they prioritize more on the survival things, the things that are more urgent to them than the long-term focus. So that's why it's quite difficult to talk about energy, to talk about sustainable energy in particular. Like, for example, when I visited that farm in a city in Metro Manila, I was talking to the people around if they know about it. And then I also post a question on social media about, have you seen solar panels on your communities? And can you please let me know which places are this? And they tell me, they put in their comments that they've seen it, but they are not particularly sure if those solar panels are helping them, because their focus are mainly on surviving. Their focus are mainly on other things like finding jobs, like getting food for the day. But I think the conversations are now uh, being out there. People are now more aware, or a little bit more aware of about sustainable energy, because they've been recognizing that they've been suffering from electricity prices, and they're also finding different alternatives, and it's getting more popular, I would say.
Thank you, Buti. Yeah, I want to also bounce back to what Kulio said earlier, that it needed to be talk about not in terms of kilowatts anymore. This is not a question for you yet. Sorry, I'm just referring to you.
Yeah.
That it needs to be about something else, not about kilowatts. And can I still stay with you, Buji? I would
Yeah.
like to ask you, in your experience with the Good Chat last year, if not talking about kilowatts, what did you one thing you asked people to share? I'd really like your idea to ask people, have you seen solar? Tell me where it is. And you already start to get their insights already, that they don't know whether or not it's helping them, even though they know that it's there. And now my question for you, like, what then, if not, you directly talking about solar, right? And what was some of their sentiments beside that, oh, I don't know if it's helping me, but when they were telling you about it, and what were some of the feelings that they had about having solar in their neighborhood?
First, when like people are saying that they're like weirded out about it, like what are these panel things occupying certain land? So what are these antennas? Are these for television? Are these for satellites or something? But at the same time, there are also conversations on uh uh during their engagement with my content about people telling about misconceptions about solar energy, about sustainable energy, that the people say that it's not true, that it's going to be more expensive, it destroys communities, destroys land, like they take a lot of space, and instead of using that space for other things, they put solar panels, which only rich people can benefit. There are many misconceptions that are being thrown out towards sustainable energy. And I think that became, or uh that's where we step up, as content creators, to shed light to these misconceptions, because we have access, to an audience who can listen to us, and where we can educate them about this energy, this sustainable energy.
Amazing. So we have this opportunity already, right? Presenting itself, that people are talking with a misconception. And Buji here as a KL say, oh, that's our chance. And Kulio, you talk about the collaboration also between KOLs and CSO. What do you think the CSO's role here can be when there's this opportunity that people are talking the misconception? Buji, as a content creator, say, oh, this is my chance. How can a CSO be supporting Buji's efforts here?
Well, first, I think can you hear me? Sorry. Yeah, it's very very important point that Buji made about the misconceptions, right? The fact that we're caught in these storylines that actually are mistaken, right? It is not the case that renewables are more expensive or a luxury item. That actually, if you want cheap energy, if you want reliable energy, if you want safe energy, the people dying from coal mines accidents are far bigger, hundreds of times bigger than the people who die from windmills, right? Which is a very trivial number. So the question I think one has to ask is where does this come from? Where do these misconceptions come from? Like they don't come from ignorance. They're manufactured. These are manufactured stories. And who is manufacturing these stories? It's the people who have the most to lose from us switching to renewable energy future. And so we're kind of, sorry for the background noise, we're stuck in this, it's called like there's this term called the Olson principle or dynamics, or I don't remember what it is, but basically the fact is that concentrated losers organize effectively, whereas diffuse winners don't, very weak because we're so diffuse, right? So everybody has to gain from a clean energy future, but very few, very powerful people have a lot to lose in us embracing that future. And so these are the same forces that are vested in the fossil fuel dependency, are the forces that are pushing these stories of in very effective and very pernicious ways. That even the idea of individualizing the problem of climate change, for example, that comes from a campaign where did that start? That was BP, British Petroleum. They developed the carbon calculator. And why would they do that? They presented that as we're helping people take responsibility, but actually underpinning that was a story that they wanted people to buy into, which is that we are individually responsible, but we individually are powerless as well, right? So that's kind of a narrative that defeats the idea of people taking their own agency. And so I think CSO's role is not just to equip with information. That is very important because we need KOLs to help us debunk these myths, these unhelpful stories that we tell ourselves, which are untrue, that stand in the way of the renewable energy future that beckons. We do need better information and to equip KOLs with the facts and the evidence so that they can help make the case for a clean energy future. But more than that, I think we need to help them understand and see the power dynamics that are at play in keeping this future away from us. And I would love for the partnership with KOLs to not just be about debunking myths, but about addressing the root of the problem, which is concentration of power and self-interested incumbencies that are actively making that future more unreachable to us. So calling out power, and this is, our collaboration, I think, is not just about truth telling. It's also about activating and mobilizing so that we collectively articulate a strong political demand and a compelling, a compelling voice for change.
Your answer's amazing. I love it. And I love how you address it in both levels. So the first bit is to debunking all these misconceptions, all these myths, right? But if we only stay at this level, it's a lot of work and a lot of efforts that does not yet address the root cause of it all. And I love how you inviting all of us here to look at it from a systematic point of view, looking at it from this concentrated power and how we can together question it. And people don't support what they don't understand, right? If they don't understand what energy transition is and where these misconceptions come from, they can't be supporting that. And I love that the CSOs can be supporting the KOLs with these facts, these data, so that they can help creating better narratives and reframe it, turn it around, organize ourselves better against quote unquote, I'm quoting you, losers or Olsen, so that we can work effectively together. Now, I think we need some hope. We feeling like the power of the giants above us looming in the background already. I think we need some hope. I think Mamir will be able to help provide us exactly just that. Mamir campaign was super successful with the good chat, and there's so many interesting thing about it. I let her start by just telling us what the campaign was and how she started with the online space, and then she moved the group to the offline space as well. Just let's start by just the background of your campaign, Mamir.
Okay, so for last year, no, it's 2024, right? One of the campaign is showing people how real people live their home that has sustainable features. And so we had a content, a video on YouTube, a house tour for Nada Arini's house. And I think I saw her in the participant today. Hi, Manada. So basically, it didn't start as a campaign to promote energy or sustainability, but we really create the content because we genuinely curious about her home and how we can apply the sustainable features in a home. So we make an article and a video about Nada Arini's house, and we talk about how he applied the rainwater harvesting system, the open space in the living room, and it get a very good response from our audience in the YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And then the conversation developed into an idea about hey, how about we turn this into an offline activities? So how about we make offline sharing session with Mbak Nada and Mas Kavi, the architect from Serasa Architect that designed her house. And we open a registration for 15 or 15 participants, real homeowners or people who wants to renovate their home and interested in the sustainable features. And it get a good response also, and they talk more about the sustainable features even after the event.
Thank you so much for sharing. And can you tell us a bit more about how the conversation unfolded? You were already talking about the participants online, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what was the difference between the online engagement and the in-person engagement? You can maybe tell us both perspective, maybe from the perspective of a participant, and then maybe from you personally, who the creator of the campaign as well.
The difference maybe because when in offline activities you can meet the expert face to face, so the question is more specific to relate in relation to their real condition, like oh, I like the sustainable features that apply to Mbak Nada's house, but can we apply it to our home that maybe had smaller space, smaller land, but how about I want to apply the design, but I only had a tiny space, like maybe only 5 times 10 meters land, and but I want to apply the same sustainable features that Manadas have in my home. So the conversation is more specific and more more details about in relation to the real condition, not only in Jakarta. I remember there's someone who lives in the suburban area, and she also have this problem, like she wants to rely on the natural circulation for the air, but she lives near the um pembuangan sampah tuh apa bahasa Inggris ya? The garbage dump, the main garbage dump. So if it so what we're discussing is more like the real problem, not only the problem that feel distant. So it's very interesting because we actually can discuss how about the things that can affect the decision to apply the renewable energy.
And I think that's the power of in-person events, the power of two-way communication and, seeing people face to face so that they can start asking questions and then the expert can be directly answering it. And then you can get a better view of who the participant, the viewers are, as opposed to just the 3D comments through that text only. And I think that's one of the reasons why we want to emphasize on in-person events this year. We invite our online content creators to not just stay online but take your chance to kind of go out of your comfort zone. We have one of our content creators, Pano, who will be taking his chance in creating an event on how to getting people to play board game on the history of energy. And it's an uncomfortable feeling for a lot of online creators who don't really organize in-person events, but I think there's a real power to it that we can make use of. And I think personally, from a human being perspective as well, you do get better connection with your audience, and also you feel more motivated to keep on going because only 15 people, I mean, you only have space for 15 people, but in comparison to the 100,000 people who look at your content, but you remember so much about that day that only 15 people came. And I'm sure that for those 15 people who came, they remember so much about it and they continue to have discussion in their own communities as well. And we can scale from that as opposed to just one post. Very thankful to be learning from your example. And okay, we looping back to you, Buji. We talk about that opportunity moment when you could be engaging your followers, and we heard from Leo already that the collaboration can be the CSO can be supporting with facts, with data. I'd like to ask you, beside facts, beside data, as a KOL who has worked with different CSO already, you were with the Good Chat, and you have maybe you can tell us about different collaborations that you had, and then tell us more on your expectations or your wish, your hope to get support from CSO from your point of view.
So as a KOL, so we have different niches, right? Like for example, in my case, I tell stories, and at the same time, I do cycling content, I do mobility content. The thing about it is that I think one of the things that has been posted as well, it was also discussed during our time with the Good Chat, is that we don't know anything about energy. We don't know anything. We're not credible enough to be, speakers of energy. We're just here to make content. So this is the time when where the CSOs come, the experts come, because they are the ones who provide us with details. They're the ones who provide us with facts, the things that the credible things that we say, and being associated with them gives us credentials that the things that we say are not propaganda. The things that we say are not just hearsays, but these are backed by organizations that are credible enough to tell these stories. I remember regarding collaborations, I also enjoy doing collaborations with different people. So I did a bike ride. I have a bike community. During the start of my content creation journey, we started with small group bike rides, but these are meant to be fun bike rides and to support local communities like local cafes, startups, small businesses, where we invite people to ride the bike with us, and then we go to these businesses um, to promote cycling, to promote infrastructure, and at the same, and eventually, as we do these small bike rides, it grew into an advocacy event. Like, oh, since people are now biking and people are seeing that uh, our cities are bikeable, it is our chance to spread the message that uh, sustainable transport is possible in our city, particularly in Metro Manila, and that it's fun to do it, and that uh, everyone can do it, regardless of your age, your gender, your capabilities. And then eventually grew, and people are started to notice us. CSOs are starting to notice us. Organizations are starting to notice us. Businesses are starting to notice us. Until I think the biggest one that we did was we were able to collaborate with a big corporation in the Philippines. It's a corporation about uh, uh, they own different lands. So what we did was we closed one big street in the central business district in the Philippines for 2 days, where we also invited different small businesses to hold pop-ups there. And we invited people on bicycles to go there. And at the same time, capture the audience, capture people who doesn't ride the bike to be encouraged to ride a bike. And then we had conversations there about sustainable transport. We had about sustainability, about clean energy, about mobility, and we were surprised that at the end of those 2 days we had a foot traffic of 11,000 people, like more than 11,000 people. So with that, I would like to say that I believe that, like for example, we do content, and sure, we get millions of views out there, but in-person events and collaborating with people who can help us, because I'm just an individual. I mean, I cannot mount, or I cannot close a street for 2 days. So, collaborating with people who has power, who has, the capacity to do like bigger things than what I do, is like, it's a good combination to advance that advocacy.
So I hear that you want the collaboration to help back in terms of credibility
Yeah.
from the followers. And then also it'd be great to have the power, the authority, for example, to close an entire street and see how a fun bike ride really is an honest people who want to bike and have a good time. And it turns into conversations on public transportation, on mobility, on clean energy. And that also happened because you got the support from the authority, from the corporation and their power to make bigger impacts. And okay, I think we bit over time, but I think we want to hear a bit more. Let me have one more questions for Leo, and then you can start also typing your questions in the comment section as well. Milk here will be helping me collecting the questions. My last questions for you, Leo, is it's kind of like a two parts conversation question. One is what is maybe you can give one of our example of a partnership between a CSO and KOL that feel aligned, and in that partnerships, maybe you can help paint a picture what success looks like. Of course, we're talking about views, reach, and engagement already, but maybe in other forms or what you see. So two-part question. One, example of a partnership that feels aligned, that both are working together meaningfully, and what that success look like to you?
This is kind of new for me, so I haven't, as I said, I'm a recovering technocrat. So mostly in the past worked with people in power or people in government or people in policy think tanks. But the Bangkok Climate Action Week was a start of trying to work in different constellations with influencers, and I would say actually I think a very good example is one that involves both of us, which is the partnership that we're developing with Make Sense and Juti for Bangkok Climate Action Week. And for me, the element of a good partnership, why I feel so excited about this partnership is because it has all the elements of what I think partnerships are for. Like there's no point in pretending to be partners if you simply want someone else to help you do the thing that you're on, your thing, right? I think partnership needs to start with a collective shared goal that's much bigger than what we individually can do on our own, right? So then, and I think we have that, and we have very ambitious shared goals between Make Sense and Truti, to really build a movement and create a space for the movement to be nurtured and cultivated and express itself and find itself and strengthen itself. This is a concept that we're developing, by the way, this year, which is to establish a community hub. But so that I would say is coming to the second part of the question. The first element that I'm looking for in a partnership is a shared vision or an ambitious shared goal that requires much more than what each of us can do in isolation. And to generalize this point, the value of a partnership is in transcending the limitations of specialization. So we live in a culture, or the prevailing culture is that we all have to specialize, and to stand out, to fundraise, to develop our brand, our reputation. Everything comes down to finding a specialization or really focusing very narrowly. But when we're talking about engaging in system shift, that requires us to take a holistic view, and partnerships are, I think, essential to any organization that has an ambition that's systemic. Needs to think about partnership not just as an instrumental as how we achieve a goal, but as an endpoint in itself. The journey is a destination kind of thing. Like partnership, building collaboration in a way that transcends the limitations of specialization, the silos, is itself an impact or an action that goes towards what we're trying to do. So there's an inherent value in collaborating beyond what we're trying to get in terms of the things that we care for in isolation. And so that's for me, that's there are many other things I can talk about, having shared ideas of what good looks like, metrics, etc., just to have accountability, which is important. But I think the main point I really want to leave you all with is this idea of partnership is a value. It's not just an instrument or a way of getting things done. It's something that I think it's part of the muscle that we need to build to be effective in this business of systems shift.
Thank you. And I see the similarities also between your answer and Buji's answer. A partnership is a shared goal and something that is bigger and more powerful than one party can achieve. Like Buji cannot be just closing the street alone. And even the bigger corporation, they can close the street, but no one will show up, right? But you are the people who fill up the streets and get people excited about it. And I can talk on and on with all of you for many hours, but I think we have now time, maybe 5 minutes for the questions. Go ahead and please drop your questions in the comment section. I haven't seen any questions yet, but if you have questions, go ahead and ask your questions now. Or you can also raise your hands, and then we can hear from you, see your lovely face as well. I think people are being shy. Or they're looking forward to. Oh, okay. We have Yosife B. No. Yes. Yes, please.
Yes. Is it okay if I ask directly?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Yosi. I'm from Indonesia. Think Policy. My organization work with Putih on like policy and politics literacy for mothers. I want to share a little bit of my experience. So these past couple of weeks, I've been talking to Indonesian journalists about mainstreaming the topic of solar panels because Indonesian president recently pledged to enable 100 gigawatts. I see Mbak Mamir already rolling her eyes. 100 gigawatts of solar energy when currently our solar energy has not even reached 1 gigawatt, right? I mean, this is a huge pledge and promise. It's a good ambition, but we don't know if it's a realistic one or not. But this would be the first time that a president pledged something for renewable energy. But I asked the journalists, like, what is the appetite for this topic for the Indonesian public? And they said that uh, uh, the journalists tend to be fatigued and also like because currently there are so many demonetization of media, so they tend to focus more on sexy topics as in like so fossil fuel and everything like that. So that's why they don't want to cover all these topics, right? And that's why I really like all of your approach of like starting from the individuals itself and see like how. And I think a lot of individuals in Indonesia tend to be skeptical because they feel like whatever I do, if the policymakers are not doing anything about it, then what is it all for, right? So I kind of, because I see that in journalists, there's also that fatigue and also skepticism. I kind of want to ask the panelists, like, how can you inspire these individuals to still keep going and like do their part for energy, like renewable energy, even if the politics is not looking good and it does not look like it's supporting it, but like what should we convince them that why this is still a worthy fight and everything like that. I hope that makes sense. Thank you so much, everyone.
Can you just clarify this, if you the who are you referring to when you say giving encouragement or hope to the not the journalists, right? The people actually doing the renewable
Yes, like
right.
people doing their part, like like just at start at as solar panel in their homes and everything like that, or even talking about it with their friends and their community. Yeah.
Can I answer the question? I think it all starts, I think, with many different campaigns. And I think Indonesia can really relate to this since Philippines and Indonesia recently share the same, a little bit of scenario where virality managed to put fire to people's feelings to oust something or someone or fight for something. And us content creators, we make content, everyday content, we make numerous content with hopes of some content goes viral. And if we continue in making content that would shake the hearts of people, maybe that content may plant a seed and others getting inspired to talk more about solar sustainable energy, and that would inspire different people to get into sustainability. I remember, if we can, I remember during the start of our program would make sense. They made us watch a video that's very, it's very, how do I put this? It shook every one of us because it's about climate, and that's when everyone realized that, oh, we are doomed. We are, we are the world's it's getting crazy, and that inspired us to, that gave us fuel, like a good fuel to our hearts, that to make content, sustainable content that would pass this fuel to other people. So I guess if we get, if you get more people to put out content out there, to get inspired to change their ways of living, that would be a good start probably. And content creators, most of them, uh they're very independent, and uh they're more free to do stuff compared to, traditional media, where it's a system, it's a corporation, etc., etc.
Can I also answer that? I love that question, by the way, because I think it's a very ubiquitous one, and it's one that speaks to something that there's always a voice in anybody in this business. I think it's, our work is hard, right? It's like pushing a boulder up this mountain like Sisyphus, and then the next day you have to start again. And then once you get to the top, you see that actually there's so many more peaks. And actually, this is a never-ending journey. And actually, that is, I think, what makes it energizing and exciting, right? It's because it's hard that it's meaningful. It's because it's hard that it's exciting. But it becomes difficult the moment you start to think about it in individual terms. It becomes crushing because you realize that the thing that you care most about, that you really like pouring your energy and your effort into, is never going to add up to the change that you desire, right? So that is the result of thinking in individual terms. But the moment you think in terms of what's possible with the throng, then the moon is the limit, right? It's like we can move mountains, and so unlocking the strengths of the collective, the strengths of the thong, I think is makes you see that there isn't an endpoint. We're on a journey together, and sorry, my phone is there's things popping up on my phone, getting a bit distracted. Sorry, but if you stretch your imagination beyond the here and the now and the me, right, to a broader sense of the now, a longer sense of now, right? That think in terms of multiple generations. Winning doesn't mean you have to have reached a point and like a goal in by year 5. That's just a plan. That's not a vision, right? It might mean handing the baton over and never seeing the final fruits of your labor, but at least knowing that you have been part of this collective movement in the direction of what you desire. So that's kind of lengthening the idea of the here to a longer sense of now. And if you think about yourself in terms of a bigger us, it's not just me. It's also it's everybody. It's my children, the unborn. It's also the untalking. Maybe the river and the sea, right? It's nature that doesn't have a voice. If we think in terms of ourselves as part of the web of life, and in terms of longer sense of now, and in terms of a better idea of what we're reaching for, it's not just renewable energy future, 100 gigawatts. No, this is a KPI on a journey to a qualitatively different future, right? Which we're on a journey towards. And every day, I wake up feeling extremely excited, knowing that I'm part of this big adventure, right? This huge epic story that is like, the stakes are so high, and it doesn't matter that we never get to the peak. I won't get to the peak, but knowing that I've helped move the ball further down the court is what motivates me. And I think it's kind of a mindset shift from thinking about this in individual terms to thinking about it in terms of an epochal journey, adventure that we're on, and that we have the immense privilege to be a part of.
The power of the collective, definitely. Thank you. Can I also invite Leia here to contribute to the questions? And I know you have a lot of experience, and I know a lot of it must feel lonely, and you've been on this journey for so long, and you came basically like เสือพื้นหมอนใบ in Thai. Like in Thai, it's like you came, just nothing, right? And you made this organization in Asia, and there must have been some lonely times and difficult times, even though like the political situations are not helping in terms of sentiment for you too. Can maybe share a few words?
Yeah, I'll be very quick. No, thank you. I think it's a very important question because it's true we can't deny that we are living, like the current times are like going in the opposite ways and progress on especially on the topic of climate, but it's not just climate, it's like every major social environmental issue. So we definitely have to recognize this. But what I can tell you is two things. Is when we started Make Sense Asia. So we started in the Philippines in 2015. And back then, the definition of civic engagement was mostly volunteerism. I will go build houses and schools, and obviously it's an important work, but most people didn't see themselves as capable or having agency to act for policy change or those type of things. Nowadays, things have changed and people are way more political, if I can use this term, and have way stronger opinions. And I think what is super interesting, if you look at, for instance, the protest, so I know less about the protests in Indonesia, but for instance, about the flood control management protest that happened, I think, in October, November in the Philippines, it started on social media. It started with Gen Zs talking about it on social media. It created a whole movement that gathered people from various different social economic backgrounds. And not saying that the problem is addressed, but it really, the media couldn't avoid it. The Philippine government couldn't avoid this conversation. It became really, really a big movement, and actually still lasting today. So that's the first thing. And the second thing about the role of KOLs, what Buji mentioned about being independent voices. So you have KOL who are not fully independent. So it's why you need to find those who have like a very independent voice. And there are many actually, and different sizes. It's important to not just here we have our superstars who are like really a large audience, but also those who have very small communities are very important to work with. Because what happens is your platform, like your algorithm, will change when you follow more people who push content like this. So for instance, when Buji start talking about climate action, about advocating for solar energy, but it will inspire maybe other content creators to start talking about this. And for instance, that's what happened with Puti, who is now creating a whole movement of other women community leaders in Indonesia who are also starting to talk about this. And it becomes normal in the content creation community. And then, because again, today, social media platforms are the #1 source of news, and it's no longer like TV, newspapers, etc. So this is why social media platforms are bad, but at the same time, if we use them in the right way, we can really continue to influence people and develop this agency. And just always remember that when governments or anyone are pushing in the opposite way, it means that we are doing the right thing. We are annoying them, so it's good news.
Yes, we need to keep engaging people, inviting people in, and scaling that way. And speaking of reward, Sifibi, since you gracefully ask that questions, can I also invite you to choose one of the prizes? So we have the the first one, custom the Good Chat style portrait. That's your #1 choice. Number 2, you have consultation on copywriting with me. I graduated from, I feel like I need to sell myself. Then number 3, you can also get one-on-one consultation with Leia, who just wisely spoke just now. Can I ask you choose one of the questions, one of the prizes?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Thank you. Okay. I'll just chat you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
You can reach out to Milk. Her name is Milk.
Okay.
It is in the chat. Thank you
I
so
will.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the lively discussion. We loved all the discussion, and we hope to continue to have different spaces like this, both online, also in person, so we can continue to talk about it. A round of applause for all our panelists here who have shared their thoughts, shared their insights, shared their stories. So if you can reach to your reaction button and clap. And then everyone can imagine the sound of applause is there. Okay, now we have the playbook because we have been working hard. I need to reshare again because of the sound. Because we've been working hard and learning so much and oftentimes from our failures, and we proudly put everything there, both our successes and our failures. And I'd like to introduce to you our the Good Chat Playbook.
People tend to think this is some issue that is not really relevant to their daily life. It's more like something that is too far ahead and it's not really urgent. And also there's this kind of hesitations because people don't really know how to start the conversations, and they think they have to have some kind of expertise in this matter before they can start talking about it.
Money and budget to make it real is very important, because in every element to make this real, we need to use a lot of budget and people.
The hardest part is just make my audience feeling like they have a right and they have power in themselves to change our country, to change maybe some policy, and maybe can change our world.
Introducing the Good Chat Playbook, your guide to mainstream energy transition conversations across Southeast Asia. The Good Chat is built around two paths. The first, for KOLs, the key opinion leaders who create content and host conversations, and the CSO path for organizations, NGOs, and researchers. The energy transition will be just and fair when people start talking about it in the comment sections, in group chats, at kitchen tables, and at pop-up events by creators who don't have all the answers but start the conversation anyway. Let's have better conversations. Use the playbook.
Jim, you're on mute.
Okay. Hi. So that's the Good Chat Playbook. Again, it's free, it's open source, meaning that if you know more about us in a lot of things, and we only know so much. So it's open source. Email us away, tell us what to edit, and we can use this as a platform to exchange our know-hows on engaging the public to talk about the energy transition that affects our home, affects our health. Now, to look at it more closely, we have different breakout rooms. We have one breakout room for KOLs that would be led by Putti, and then we have a breakout room for CSO that is led by Leia. They will be guiding you through the Good Chat Playbook. So we have the breakout room. Let me go see. I will put it open so you can choose to join. And if you find that you cannot join, having the technical difficulty, you can type in the chat. For example, if you want to go to the KOL path, you can type KOL. If you want to go to CSO path, you can type CSO. For those who cannot join the breakout room. So I think the room is open, so you can already go in there. Can you see the room, everyone?
Do you encourage us to join the group that corresponds to who we are, or is it open?
I encourage you to go to the room that who you are, but
Right.
You can feel free to chop. You can leave the room and go in a different room as well if that's what you want. Yes, but I encourage you to at least start in the room of who you are. So if you're KOL, please go to the KOL path. If you're curious to check out the other room, you can too.
And for those who are like more like climate communities or movement, I also invite you to join CSOs because actually like this path can be quite interesting for you as well.
Okay, so if you see the breakout room option, you can click to join yourself. If you don't see it, you can type KOL, you can type CSO, and we will assign you. It will take us a few moments.
note on our learnings, what works, what doesn't work. So we hope that we put it on the playbook. So we hope that it can be like a starting point for the KOLs or those content creators who are already aware about the energy issue and how they can start. Okay, so I will share my screen. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us again. This room is recorded, but it's not, no worry, it's still a safe space. If it's not safe, those who really like to talk about unsafe thing is usually me. So that's okay. If you want to ask anything or share it on the chat. So as you know that the Good Chat today had some giveaways like a prize, little prize. So for this room, I would like to offer also a mini gift. So it's a custom portrait because I'm also an illustrator and I have this called by Putih Version custom portrait. I will have like a mini quiz. So please make sure that you pay attention. The quiz will not be hard, but what you need is really to feel that this is also something that you want to learn. I have one like a gift custom portrait for those who are interested. The quiz will be at the end. Okay, so I think as we all are here, and there are 20 of us, I think quite difference with the CSO room. So if you don't mind and if you can you share on the chat box, like as a KOL, what makes it, what is the hardest part for you to talk about climate change and energy transition? If you have like a quick experience about it, if you would like to share. Let me check my chat box. Anyone would like to share? Like, what is the hardest part? What makes you hesitate? You care about it enough, but then when embedding it in your content, what is your hesitation? We got a answer from Yasmin. Not sure that I got the facts right. Yeah, I think I can resonate to that. Kiki, feel hard to connecting the topics because not an expert topic. Yeah, I also can resonate to that. Like, this matter, why are you suddenly talking about energy transition, such a huge issue? Anyone else would like to share? I welcome you to share it on the chat box. But I think as I would like to echo what Jeep mentioned about how actually we in the Good Chat really believe that this is our issue, this is a collective issue, and we all have a role to play, especially not to put too much pressure on us, but I think because we also have like what you call like engagement or charisma or influence. So I think we really have an important part to make more people voices to be heard, especially because I don't know in the other country, but in Indonesia, no viral, no justice. So to really amplify the voices that is not usually heard, we really need the power of social media. We got answer from Amir how to connect it into daily conversation. We also have answer from Gina. Yeah, it seems like we are too serious and people say, it's not interesting. I really note and resonate to that too. This is the idea that actually, which is also already discussed on the panel discussion, that we citizens, KOLs, really need to collaborate with the NGO, which also can be the bridge to the policymaker and local government entities. Because I think almost all of us have this understanding that there's something wrong about the policy, there's something wrong about the policy implementation, but as an individual, it's really hard to reach in the policy level. So I think by doing it collectively and by collaborating with more movement, it really can help us to create a systemic change.
Try to do is really build collective of people. We bring them together, and then we make them collaborate with key decision makers so we can address problems. So why did we start working with KOLs? So we don't work with KOLs like separately, and then we work with other civil society organizations or NGOs separately. We really try to bring all those people together, and we try to build coalition. They can be formal, they can be informal. The most important for us is, again, going back to the point of Leo, is to facilitate partnerships and build trust and normalize for these different groups who maybe have nothing in common and feel just comfortable to work together. So we started doing this by doing a first pilot in the Philippines in 2021. And here the focus was more on circular economy and how can we reduce the consumption of single-use sachets, you know, the shampoo sachets, soap, etc. And so what we did is we brought together different civil society organizations, consulting firms that work with FMCG companies, etc. And we make them collaborate with a big influencer in the Philippines. His name is Erwan Yosaf for the Filipinos of the group. And basically, we wanted to test out what is the power of Erwan in engaging people who never engage with circular economy in the Philippines. And on the other hand, with this coalition, we make them work together to identify what is the key solution or policy that we want to advocate for. And basically what happened is we realized that if we were advocating for a ban of sachets, it will be the low-income communities that will be the first impacted because they are the ones who are really dependent on sachets because they can't afford to buy in bulk. So we realized that we need first to change the consumption behaviors of middle and upper class. And also we realized that, for instance, refilling stations were not legal in the Philippines at that time. So if we were legalizing refilling stations, because to keep it short, like most of the mom and pop stores of the Philippines, they source their product in supermarkets. So if in supermarket refilling becomes normal, then in the mom and pop stores, we will have like a snowball effect where they will also slowly switch to refilling station. But it was not legal. So that became the core focus of our campaign, was to bring all those people together. And what happened is, so we approached Erwan Yosaf. We were like, okay, man, we need your face. We need you to be part of this movement. And what we did is that we did like a whole PR engagement with him. We didn't give him any brief. We explained him what is the problem. And then we let him decide how he wanted to use his voice. And on the other hand, it makes sense, run like a whole petition and a whole campaign. And we went across the Philippines. And we were directly waiting people at the exit of supermarkets. And we were having conversation with them about like, okay, what do you think about refilling station, et cetera, et cetera. And on the other hand, we went to see like mom and pop stores called Sari stores in the Philippines and ask them, because FMCG companies will tell us, oh no, it's the mom and pop stores who don't want a refilling station. It's not our fault, it's their fault. So we went to see the mom and pop stores and we were able to interview more than 300 mom and pop stores who told us, no, we would love to move, but we follow the rule of the game, basically. So anyway, all of this, we were like presenting all these case studies on social media. Erwan became the face of all of this. And then we started organizing different gathering and meetings where we started having like quite influential people in the private sector and in the public sector and in the NGO sector as well, to also start raising their voices. And to keep it short, in 2023, we were able to change an FDA policy to legalize refilling stations. Now the focus is more about changing the behaviors and like running different programs related to this. My point here is maybe it looks like a small policy change that refilling station is nothing, but actually it's a big step for the Philippines because finally we have a solution where we can push and advocate for a potential ban of sachets. And here the key ingredients were really bringing citizens, academia, NGOs, grassroots movements, and public and private institutions together. And makes sense, we really play this role of being the trust keeper that even if, I don't know, a certain NGO hate a certain company, we will be able to make them still talk together. My point was like, okay, we saw that this recipe works and there are so many online community leaders who are trusted by their audience, who are role models for their audience. How can we build their capacity also to feel comfortable to talk about climate change and to also recognize that as a climate movement, we are doing great work, but recognize that we have our own limits. And the way we talk about climate action, it's not everybody or most people don't connect to this narrative. So we need to talk about it in a different way. And the people who know how to talk about what people care on a daily basis are those online community leaders. And they come from various different backgrounds. And what was important in our selection process was first that they never engaged with climate action before. And the second thing was that they still share the humanist values of Make Sense. That's the only thing that was really important for us. So from there, we learned so much from working with these guys over the past 3 years. And with all of them, we were able, so Jip talked about the reach, but I want to focus really more on the engagement part. We were able to invite 5 narratives where people really then engage with energy transition. So for instance, one of them is, I mentioned, cost of living, but it's also about health and caring for your family. Another one was about the future of jobs, because people are freaking out with the AI revolution and how climate jobs can be the future and safe careers for people. So there are 2 others, but basically, like, we really identified and tested different narratives, and we're able to prove that this narrative engage individuals. The second thing is that we tested different tactics
Welcome back, everyone. I'm sorry that we don't have more time, but I hope it was exciting. It was fun, and
I
all
haven't
the
given my price yet, Chip.
okay. You want to do that now, Puti? Why don't we do that now?
Yes, I
Yes.
think we
Okay.
can do it fair and square for everyone who would like to join. I think we can. For the lucky 30 participants, I okay. So I have this.
Leia, have you given your prize?
No. And can you give me 5 minutes after to just show a few slides because I have some key messages that I wanted to share with
Okay.
my
Okay.
friends
So
and I
sorry.
want to over to.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Back to the backup rooms.
So this is my prize. I want to give prize as well. Beside the one-on-one. So my question is, you can use the raise hand feature. If anyone would like to get a custom portrait by Putih version, it's easy. For the KOL path, how many levels are there? And please mention one of the level name. Please raise your hand. Yes, you already get a prize. Anyone would like to answer? How many levels on the KOL path of the playbook? And please mention just one level. You don't have to do it correctly, but just the general idea of it. Anyone would like to try their luck? Okay, there's Saskia 5 level. Can you share just one? Okay.
Yeah, there are 5 levels in the playbook, and I think the first one is about why energy. Is that right?
Yes. Okay. Yay! The prize goes to Askia. Please email to Putih at Make Sense.
Okay, thank you.
I'll give the floor to Leia.
Okay, Leia, sorry. Continue. You are sorry, it will be a bit messy, but Leia, go ahead.
Sorry, I just finished my key point for my group. So my point was basically this toolkit is no matter if you're already engaged with campaigning, collaboration on external campaigns or not, we have different levels for you guys. And I think and in each section, basically you will have either master classes, either you'll have like toolkits or concrete templates that you can reuse, or you'll have clear information about what works in your country or, for instance, at the regional level. So it goes from understanding how does the general public look at the energy transition to how to convince funders to fund your communication work, because that's something, for instance, a struggle that many organizations face. And then, so to access the playbook, am I sharing my screen? Yes. So to access the playbook, we will repost the link in the chat, but you can scan this QR code. Again, it's 100% free. Feel free to distribute it around you. And if you need any help or any support, don't hesitate to reach out, and we'll be happy also to organize in-person trainings. Now, the other thing that is really important is not showing. This from April to May, we are organizing a big campaign per country, especially in Thailand and Indonesia and Philippines. We will co-manage it directly. And the idea is to bring together different civil society organizations and some of our fellows and alumni together. And we will collaborate on a clear call to action together in a big campaign that can support your civil society efforts. So if you're a think tank that is trying to push, I don't know, like a policy project or any kind of specific research project, or for instance, on organization like Duty or Greenpeace, who are advocating also on key messages, really join these workshops, because the idea is really that the campaign that we will design will serve your agenda in 2026, because again, you guys know better what are the call to action, where do we need the public, and the KOLs are experts in how to engage this public with your core messages. So please join these workshops, scan this QR code to let us know that you would like to participate, and we will reach out to you. You don't have to prepare anything. We will take care of everything for you. And if you need my contact details, here they are. And anyone who wants to meet with me, that will be my free gift to everybody. I'll be happy to do that. I'm done, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leia. No, you said exactly what I want to say. So I can share my screen, and we have both of the links. One link is the link to the playbook that you have seen, and you can take more time and go look at it. It's viewable both on your phone as well as on the desktop and the computer. So that is the QR code on the left side. We can be sending you all the links as well. And then on the right side is the QR code to join the campaign that Leia mentioned. It's the campaign itself will start in April 20th, and it's a 6 weeks campaign, and the co-creation will happen before that. So in Indonesia, it will happen before. It will happen in on March 3, 4, 5, 3rd, 2nd, no, I can't count. 3rd, 4th, and 5th of March. And no, sorry, I'm wrong. Sorry, that's Thailand. Thailand is 11th, 12th, and 13th. No, okay, I'm so sorry. It's a long day. It's February 11th. 12 and 13 in Thailand. So right after election, you're done with no. Okay, I can't talk. I'm gonna stop
And
now.
you're correct, Jim. Jakarta is Feb 11 to 13, and Bangkok March 3 to 5.
Thank you so much. Yes. So those are our two invitations to you. You can join the campaign in however you like. You can personally, physically come to the on-site at the co-creation events, or you can get information from us, and then we can together, collectively campaign together. You can be in the comfort of your own home and then start to film yourself if you are a content creator, and join the conversation that way too. So those are my two call to actions to you, and thank you so much for being here. We have more prizes, but we don't have more time already. So what we will do is we will do social media posts, and then you can join in the social media comment section, and then win our prize that way. So the rest of the prizes will be given away on our social media platforms. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook. That is The Good Chat Asia, The Good Chat Asia, and we will win our prizes there. Thank you so much, everyone, for having been with us for so long. It's time flies so quickly when you're having fun, don't you agree? And I look forward to the next time that we are here together, co-creating campaigns and joining conversations and making bigger impact. A round of applause to everyone. I see Denise raising hands. Is that by accident? Thank you, everyone. If you have questions, you can email us. That is jib@makesense.org, and do use the playbook. Tell us what to add, what to edit. It's open source, it's free. Share it away. Thank you so much for being with us today, and have a good day. And I will see you very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.